Good afternoon. Welcome to Who's Tom and Dick? With your hosts, Martin Weavers and Patrick Mortimer. Well, we're back again, Martin.
Yeah, good afternoon. It's lovely to be back.
Another week flies by, doesn't it?
I'll tell you what, it does.
What have you been up to then? Anything exciting?
Now you've asked me a question, mate, because I don't know if we've got long enough in the programme, but...
Right. Well, you did have your flu jabs yesterday, didn't you? Was it flu jab and COVID jab?
Yes, I've had my flu jab. Well, that was purely by chance.
Right.
I was going to go and see my grandchildren yesterday, and my son had got a cold, so I had to ring up my oncology team to check that I could go over there. And it turned out my grandson had got a cold as well.
Right.
So anyway, I spoke to the oncology team because we keep in touch. Anything that happens to me, I have to let them know.
Yeah.
Anyway, they said that the best thing would be to avoid going over because of the risk of me catching an infection and then a cold.
Yeah.
So I didn't go over there. And when I was on the phone to him, he's looking through my records. He said, "I see you haven't had a COVID jab, Mr. Weavers." So I said, "No, I've got to book one up. I got an email the other day," and he said, "You need to get it done straight away." So I got online, and I got an appointment the very next day.
All right.
Which was obviously yesterday, and I had me COVID in my right arm and me flu in me left.
Okay. Any side effects?
My arms were a little bit sore last night on the right one, but hardly. It's only because I moved it upwards for some unknown reason. But in a normal position, couldn't feel it. And today is perfect. And while I was there, I asked about the shingles.
Yeah.
Because there's a shingles injection.
That's right, there is.
Available for people, but it's for over 70s.
Right. You don't quite make that grade yet.
Not quite.
No.
So if you are over 70 and you're listening to the podcast, don't forget to go and get an injection for shingles.
Yeah. Well, I had mine about 2 weeks ago, one in each arm like you. Normally I have side effects. I feel a bit fluey and that sort of thing. But this time round I didn't. I was perfectly okay. I just had a sore arm. But I had the Pfizer one this time, and I've not had that one before. So whether that's a little bit easier.
A lot of people have been talking about this Pfizer one, and I've had whatever ones there are.
Yeah.
I know I've had different ones, but I've never noticed anything different.
Right.
In any of it I've had.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's in the mind.
Yeah. I think anyone under 65 now are not going to get one automatically, and I don't think you can even buy one. So I'm not sure. They must be confident that their immune systems...
Well, I'm under 65.
Yeah, but you're
I'm a
patient at risk.
That's just what I was going to say. I'm at risk.
So am I. So,
and that's what I was going to say to other people who are at risk.
Yeah, if you're at risk or you're working in the healthcare industry or one thing and another, then there are some exceptions that apply. But, my wife is not able to get one this year. I don't know whether she can get one as carer for me.
There's a thought.
Yeah. Okay, Martin, so I hear that you've been away in your newly purchased camper van.
I have. We called her Betsy.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know her, she's 1989.
Right.
She was born.
Yeah.
And she's still going strong with no rust whatsoever.
Which is the same can't be said for you, really.
Yeah. It's good there's no rust because nowadays I couldn't do it. I'd have to pay for things like that, whereas years ago I'd be rubbing it all down myself. But it's a new lease of life because Linny drives it around.
Yeah.
And we went to the Cotswolds.
Right.
And I'd never been to all the places that we went to. Linny had never been to any of them. I'd been to Burton on the Water and Stow on the Wold before. But I think one of the funniest things that happened to us on the holiday is we turned up. There was a lady turned up. I don't know if you know the green grass with Boise.
Right.
And there's a lady on there called Mrs. Cakeworthy.
Yeah.
Well, this lady turned up just like her.
Right.
Hello there. How are you? And she was covered in flour. So she said, "Excuse me." She said, "I've been cooking for someone on site." Anyway, she showed me where I was, and I said to her, "I need to get Wi-Fi." I said because I like to sit down and get on Facebook. Yes, you'll be all right. I sat down, tried to get on, couldn't get on. 4 phone calls later, oh, well, you can't get it where you are. So it was either a choice of getting Linny to move the van or staying where we were. But I said to her, so you've advertised that the site's got Wi-Fi. Where'd you get the Wi-Fi? She says, you see those 4 chairs there next to the shed, which was meant to be the office? She said, that's where you get the Wi-Fi.
Right.
So I said, what? So I've got to sit outside and get the Wi-Fi? She said, yeah.
Sounds like a carry-on camping next.
I know. And I hear, while I was away, you was away. Where did you go on holiday?
Well, I had a crafty 7 days in New York State.
As you do.
As you do, yeah. My son and his wife lives there. Yeah, so we spent 7 days there, and he took us around and showed us many sites, which was really interesting. We went to several bars. And
I bet you did.
met a lot of his friends, and we had a day skeet shooting. We call it clay pigeon shooting in this country.
Ah, yeah.
So skeet shooting. Simon was really good at it. I weren't too bad. Wendy had a go. You know, we went up the mountains on the ski lift. There's no snow, but they open that up so you can take a trip up to the top and the views, etc.
Did you have any mishaps or anything funny happen?
No, not really. We were lucky in that way. But,
that's good. Or a shame for the podcast.
Well, it was a fair old flight. That took us 20 hours to get there all round. You know, that was 7 hours into Detroit, and we had a 5-hour stopover there and a connecting flight into Albany. And my son collected us from the airport, and it was another 45 minutes or so to his home.
Are you in a different time zone when you get there as well?
Yeah, they're 5 hours behind us. You don't seem to get jet lag on the way out. It's on the way back when you seem to suffer for some reason.
Okay. Before you came back home, there was a podcast while you was in America.
Yeah, I know.
Did you hear it in America?
I did. Yep.
Did you?
My son put it on his speaker, loudspeaker, and listened to it.
What was you going to ask me?
I don't know now. Oh, yes. You're back to your trip.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Because this must be the first time since you've been diagnosed that you've actually been away any distance from your home.
Yeah, you're right, actually, because the first time I went away for 2 nights, which was touching distance, really, because we went to Kessingland. It's only an hour and a quarter away, but that was just for a trial to see how we got on with it. But you have to think about it, because I actually rung up and I found out where the nearest hospital was to where I was staying, just in case I had to get rushed into A&E or something like that.
Yeah.
And I made sure I'd got my card with me that I carry everywhere anyway, which says that I've got cancer and I have to be treated within the hour, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
When you go into A&E, which I've had to do several times. And then, of course, it was going back to our famous Dosset box.
Oh, right, yeah.
Or pill box.
The tablets, yeah.
I had to make sure I'd got a week's worth in there before I went away and everything like that. And even packing pads just in case when I was away I got diarrhea and sickness.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know.
On the tablets one, I mean, when I went to America, I took, although we were going for a week, I took 2 weeks' worth, just in case there was something, hold up or a flight. Or did you take any extras, or did you just take the 7 days?
No. I'm thinking about that now. I only took the 7 days.
Yeah.
But Linny does the Dosset box for me because I think I'd get it all wrong. So she does it for me every week. So I might have to mention that next.
Time you ought to take a couple of weeks, really, if you're going away for 7 days, I think.
We're planning on going away again soon.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, years ago there was holidays people were held up abroad. Now, if those people had tablets, they would have been stuck without them, wouldn't they? Especially abroad.
That's right. Or if you get delayed, if you get a puncture, or you have to stop over somewhere else for a couple of days.
That's right.
You've got the tablets. Whereas coming to the end of the week, you'd put yourself under a bit of pressure, saying, "Well, I've got to get back. 'Cause I've got to get to my tablets."
Yeah.
Without any spares.
You're exactly right there. I'll make you right on that. By the way, we've had a complaint.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, the complaint was from me.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because Andy was interviewed last week.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance for my joke of the week.
Oh no, really?
So, do I get 2 this week?
Well, let's have a go. Martin's joke of the week.
A man goes to the doctor's and he says to the doctor, "I've hurt my arm in several places." The doctor says, "Well, don't go to those places."
Well, there you go. Moving on then. What else have we got on?
So I don't get 2 in.
No, we're not going to layer 2 because we're on another complaint. Even though it's from you. Anyway, let's move over because we've got a lot to cover, really, because we've had a lot of listeners' comments this week. We're pleased to say we've topped the 1,000 downloads, pushing towards the 2,000. So let's cover a few of the comments that we've had, shall we, to see if we're doing anything right or wrong.
Yeah, I thank you all, and I've always said on the podcast, please write on the Who's Tom and Dick page any questions or any comments or what you think of what we talk about. You might think we talk a load of rubbish, but I hope you don't. We've had some lovely comments saying we don't, but there's lots of things that people have written in. Got one from Carl, and he said, we've mentioned smoking several times, but not talked about the food with high contents of sugar.
Yeah.
So I asked my oncologist about this, and the first thing was, load of rubbish.
All right.
So that was his first words about the thing that sugar causes more cancer. It doesn't, and the point that he proved was people with diabetes would be more prone to getting cancer, which they're not.
No.
So that answered that question. So and that was from Carl. And thanks for that, Carl. Thanks for the question and the comment. I had one from a lady called Elaine.
Yes.
And she said, "How are people's attitudes different to you when they find out you got cancer?"
Right. How people treat you differently?
Yeah. I know I was very lucky when I was first diagnosed with my cancer. My son-in-law very, very kindly bought me a box at Arsenal.
Oh, did he?
To watch the football, yeah.
I wouldn't say that's an act of kindness, really.
But being a Tottenham supporter, it was a huge thank of kindness.
Yeah.
And I had test match tickets given to me as well.
Right.
So I suppose in a way people did treat me differently at first. I think also with my cancer, I look as if I've got nothing wrong with me. And I had this one day, well, you might say different.
Yeah. Carry on.
I got in there before you.
Yeah.
Because I had this I was parking using my blue badge one day, and the lady said I was a disgrace. So I said, "Why am I a disgrace? Parking in a blue badge area when you don't need to." So I said, "Oh, right." I said, "So hold on 1 minute." And I went back to my car and I got my blue badge because I get short of breath. So I can't walk too far.
Yeah.
So anyway, I showed her my blue badge, and she picked up our book and put it over her face and didn't say a word. I said, not all illnesses are visible.
Yeah.
So I suppose I tried to make light out of it, but it did definitely change people's opinions slightly on me. And
was it mainly family then, or was it everybody?
No. Lots of people were, I had loads of people ringing me up and giving me messages. They haven't given me messages since.
Yeah.
So,
do you owe money or something?
I don't think so.
Right,
I don't
okay.
think so. But no, it does slightly, I think, change people's opinions on you. And Louise Stegel, someone who's just joined us, in fact, she was an oncologist nurse.
All right. Yeah.
And she now works at Stanton Surgery, where I go. And I told her about the podcast, and she said, "Oh, fantastic!" And so she's joined us now, and she actually fell out with her best friend because she was treated differently when she had her cancer, which she only wanted to be treated as normal, but she does add that she's since made up with her friend.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, some people don't really know how to face you, do they?
No. And we spoke about a cancer bell a couple of weeks ago, and we had a little forum where people were talking about it as well. Mm-hmm. And Louise has mentioned something on there as well. She said that she chose not to ring the cancer bell. That was her choice.
Yeah.
She heard other people ringing it in hospital, and she personally was very pleased for them. But she can see that it also spur people on. So, but she's also concerned for parents who hear the bell and just know that there's no help for their family members, and she feels for those.
Did she say why she didn't ring the bell? I mean, did she feel that she was tempting fate?
No, she just said she chose not to.
Yeah, because I was speaking to somebody and they rang the bell and thought, am I tempting fate here? Is it going to come back?
Mm-hmm. Elaine Stewart wrote in and said that when she was having her fight for cancer, which she got through, the bell wasn't available then.
Right.
So she said, but she's not sure if she'd actually do it or not.
No.
So, And then we had a couple of nice posts here one from Stephen End.
Mm-hmm.
He caught the last couple of podcasts, and he says it's a great listen. Two people not afraid to speak open and honest about subjects that matter. He loves the humour as well.
Right.
So do you reckon that's my joke?
No, I don't think so. Stretching it a bit.
And the last one that I've got this week
Yeah.
is Phil McCusker. Anyway, he's loving the podcast as well. And he's actually inspired by our positivity,
Excellent.
which is fantastic. Now, Phil has had it rough. He's had a heart attack 9 years ago,
Yeah.
and he had to have 3 stents put in.
Right.
Well, anyway, he survived that. And then last year, he had a cardiac arrest,
Right.
and he had to have another stent put in. So I've added that up. He's got 4 stents in total.
Yeah.
How many have you got?
5.
You have not. You've had 2 since last night then.
Well, I had one that replaced the other one, but there you go. I don't know whether that counts or not.
I don't know. Actually, we'll have to see. We'll have to get a VAR for that one.
Right. Okay. One thing that surprised me is the amount of comments we got and support when Andy came in last week. He was a great guest, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
And he certainly opened my eyes to a lot of things. And, you know, I've had heart disease for 14 years. So, but one thing that arose, how heart disease is hereditary.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he'd had both his sons had been tested and they were okay at the moment, which is good news. But, you know, others have said, well, how do you prepare for this? You know, how should you get tested? Well, not necessarily, but if you've got heart disease in the family, then I think there's 1 or 2 things you can do to safeguard any occurrences that might come up. You can always keep a packet of dissolvable aspirins in your medicine cabinet because if you put one of those under the tongue of the patient, that's meant to help the blood flow. The other thing, and probably a good thing for you to know as well in a way, is know where your nearest defib is located. You know,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of towns have got these now, and they're located in various locations. Know where yours is, because obviously if you do have an incident, you know directly where to go. So you're saving time there. And there are websites where you can find your locations. There's one called defibfinder.uk. This is in the UK, of course. And then there's a National Defib Database, ndbb.uk. And I'm sure there's other ones in other countries.
Are you going to put that on our website?
We'll put that on our website, yeah. But
or
if
Facebook page, I
yeah,
should say.
if you dive into that, put your postcode in, then that will tell you exactly where the nearest defibs are. Anyway, but have a look at both of those and find out where your defib is. So if you do have an incident in the home, then you know exactly where to go. Nice to have somebody who can do first aid in the family. That's always a good thing. Outside the loop. When I say that, I mean if you've got, I don't know, your husband or your wife that's family has got heart disease, then the one outside the loop should be the one that has the first aid. So, you know, the one that's more liable to have a cardiac arrest will be covered by the one that isn't, if you see what I mean. So, obviously, we all know what the emergency services number is here in the UK.
Well, do you know what? Just before you say this, I don't know where my nearest defibrillator is.
Right.
I would guess it's at my post office.
Well, that's a good guess, but it's probably not there because these are in strange places, some of them. The other thing is, if you're on your own with a patient who's suffered a cardiac arrest, you need the emergency services to attend as quickly as possible. Make sure you describe to the person on the end of the phone exactly what's happened, the seriousness of the incident. If you just say that the patient has collapsed, that could be fainting. So the emergency level will be low. So you need to say, you know, we've got a cardiac arrest on our hands if you think that's the case, because then it will move up to a higher level. The paramedics will get there a lot quicker.
Which it did with Andy, didn't it?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was saying that, and the helicopter was nearby for him to get going.
Yeah. So, and the other thing is, if you're on your own and you've got a patient lying on the floor and you're waiting for the ambulance to arrive, leave the front door open. They can come straight in. They'll know where to come. If you've got a friend with you, get them out in the street and flag the ambulance down, because they're like a delivery driver. They don't know where you are. They're trying to find your house, your door.
We could actually do a feature each week, Pat's Tips of the Week.
I'd need a jingle for that.
I think I need one for my joke.
Right, let's move on again, shall we? Before you get
I hadn't quite finished.
Oh, right, okay, go on then.
Because going on from what Phil was saying, he's actually now doing walking football. And I noticed you actually put on our website the difference between a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. So that was quite interesting. That was
an interesting one you've brought up this week. Pets.
Oh, right, yeah.
Pets.
Yes.
What do you want to say about pets?
I just think they're so good for the people just to have as comfort. And I didn't realise how much my dog and my cat meant to me. When I was first diagnosed with cancer, which was 2 years ago last February. So we actually got a cat that week.
Right.
And there's a lot of people say that animals have got an instinct and they know if someone's not well. Mm-hmm. And I've certainly had this where we used to have we had 2 cats and 1 dog when we lived in Witham before we went to Benidorm. And one day when I was off ill, I woke up. I felt as rough as anything, and I woke up and they were all on my bed.
Yeah.
And they never did that, ever.
Right.
Even if I had a day off, it was a Saturday or a Sunday, they never ever did it. So I thought, there is something there. Well, anyway, our little cat Nancy came into our lives and she would not leave me alone. She was always laying on me. And, Linny used to sort of cuddle her and all that just for a few minutes. And then she'd always come and lay on me, outstretched completely all night and never hardly move.
Yeah.
Benny the same, and he still does now. He comes and lays by me.
Right.
And I just think the number of times I've spoke to Benny, and he's just such a comfort. And the other day I looked at him and he was looking at me because he was sitting in the chair where Linny normally sits. And I looked at him, I said, I wish you could talk.
Right. Yeah,
yeah, I do. Because it's I'm wondering what they actually think when they're looking around. But
he was probably looking at you wishing you couldn't talk.
But it's just that, they come and they welcome you when they come in. First of all, they find a little present. When you came round, he found a little present and he just has to give you that present.
Yeah.
And yesterday I was talking to somebody outside and I came in and by the door there was a little present for this person.
Right.
A little ball he'd bought.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they just know when they have to be loving because it's just an instinct in them. I've often said, I wouldn't be without my pets. And sadly, we lost Nancy a few months ago. So, but she'll never be replaced because she was a 1 in a million while I was recovering.
Yeah,
or not recovering because I'll never recover. But as we know, but while I was in my darkest hours, really.
Right.
Which
just a comfort for you.
It was. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
You can probably tell the dog more than you can tell a person sometimes.
Oh God, yeah.
Sitting there listening to you,
and a dog will take more notice. Except Benny sometimes when I have to tell him 3 times.
Yeah.
He had a naughty day the other day, but cats won't take any notice. They'll just do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And for her to just lay on me all evening and all that, I still think she knew something was up.
Yeah, it's strange. Pets really seem intuitive about those sort of things. You've heard about dogs who can sniff out cancer. Have you heard that one?
Yeah, I have actually heard that one. Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
That's amazing, really. So they've got heightened senses, I think.
I don't think mine are trained for that.
And they no, just sniffing out toys.
Yeah, and presents for people.
That's very interesting, actually. Yeah. Anyway, what is this thing you keep on about? Dr. 500?
I keep on about lots of things.
I know you do, but this Dr. 500
Dr. 500, it really, really annoys me. It's all to do with because I have so many appointments through the doctor, which is seeing my oncologist, seeing the blood people, seeing this, seeing that. I've gone paperless. Now, I wish I hadn't gone paperless. I wish I'd have kept the envelopes coming through my door.
Oh, right. So it's not actually a doctor. This is on the computer, is it?
This is a computer thing, yeah. Now I know there's lots of my family members who would never be able to work this. My sister wouldn't be able to work this she just got around Facebook.
I'm surprised you can, actually.
I know I'm not very good technically, am I? Perhaps I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
But no, I know I'm doing this one right. So what you do, you get all your appointments sent to you on your phone. It comes up as a message.
Yeah.
And also you can get an email.
Right.
Well,
Yep.
sometimes the email will open and the phone won't.
Right.
Sometimes they both open. Sometimes they both don't open. But what you get is this: you have to put your name, your date of birth, your postcode,
Yeah.
and then that's meant to go then through to your letter, and then you press on View Letter, and it gives you your appointment. Well, I went on the other day, and I've gone on other times in the past, and it tells me, it comes up, Dr. 500 says you've made a mistake. Well, or words to that effect. I haven't made a mistake. I've pressed in everything they've asked me to press in,
Right.
and I haven't got anything wrong. And then this is how I was unable to pick up an appointment the other day, because I've gone with this computer age.
So are you putting your inputs using your phone or your laptop?
Both.
It wouldn't be fat fingers on the phone then. That would be,
No.
hitting the wrong. You read what you've put in before you submit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I always do. And I don't know if anybody else has had any problems with these online appointments, because they can make you late if because it says an error, so you're not going to get your letter. Well, supposing that letter is important,
Yeah.
and you're paperless, what are you going to do?
Do you get so many inputs before it locks you out, or
Not that I've known.
No.
Not that I've known.
and is there any letters you've never got?
Yeah, one.
Right.
One.
Okay.
Yeah. And the doctor rang me up and asked me where I was.
Right.
And I said, I wasn't aware of the appointment.
Yeah.
And very luckily, he said, because you're very good and you're always on time and blah, blah, blah. He said, because I don't know if you get 2 strikes and you're out.
Yeah.
I don't know why he said that. He said, but you're normally very good.
Have you brought this up with the team then and told them you've had this problem?
I haven't actually.
Yeah.
But it might be a good thing to do.
I'd start there, I think.
Yeah, I think so, because I don't want to miss appointments, and I don't want to get a black mark against my name for missing appointments.
No. Well, this is obviously a UK system.
It is, yeah.
Used on the National Health Service, I would imagine. So
Yeah, it's a national health.
Be interesting if anybody else has had a similar problems with it.
I don't know. I've never spoke to anybody else about it, but it'd be interesting, people that listen to this.
Yeah, if you've had any problems with this Dr. 500, perhaps you'll let us know.
Are you paperless? That's the question.
Right.
You have to be paperless to get this.
But everything's going paperless, isn't it? I mean, we've just had our Barclays Bank close in the town. So you have to do all your banking online. Well, what about the elderly? How do they cope with this?
I know.
And how do you cope with it? Because, you're not
I'm
very
terrible.
good with technology, are you?
Well, Patrick sets everything up here, and I wouldn't know what to do. And you asked me to do something over the phone the other day, and I kept texting you back. I said, no, nothing's happening.
Do you do online banking?
I did.
You did?
I did.
What happened?
Well, Facebook shut me down, and then I couldn't get into Facebook, and I thought to myself, oh, what's happening here? So I got a bit wary of all these things happening, that people getting into my phone.
Yeah.
So I thought, they're going to get into my bank account. So I took it off. Yeah. And now I don't know how to put it back.
Well, there you go. Brilliant. So if anybody's got any information on Dr. 500, perhaps you'd let us know. Thank you very much. Anyway, Martin, that's brought us to the end of the show, really, today.
Wow.
Or the end of the podcast.
They go so quick.
They do, don't they? That's because we ramble on so much, I suppose.
I think what we need to do is ask people to not forget to write in.
Yeah.
Because some of these letters are very, very interesting. And the more you write in, the more ideas it gives us to talk about different subjects. Because we want this to be your podcast as well as our podcast, so we can talk about the things that you want us to talk about.
The best thing to do is really join our Facebook page and Who's Tom and Dick, and leave your messages there, and we'll respond to them and include them on our podcast. It gives me a few minutes to talk about next week.
Oh,
and
yes.
We've got a really exciting guest on, another local Sudbury boy who's made it good in the world of business, Keith Ambrose, who owns and runs Tread First Tyres. He's got a very, very rare cancer. And please don't quote me on this. I think this is how it's pronounced. Polycythemia vera.
I'm glad you had to read that.
I
out
know.
because-
I'm still not sure whether that's how you
Actually,
pronounce
Keith-
it. I'm sure Keith will
Keith will
correct
tell
us
us.
on that.
Yeah.
But it's overproduction of red blood cells by the bone marrow, apparently. Blood cancer, which can evolve into chronic leukemia. Very, very little known about it, and I'm sure Keith knows a lot, and I'm sure that'll be very interesting for all of us next week. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
What are you up to this week? Anything exciting?
This week, I'm preparing to go away again.
Where are you going this time?
I'm going to go to the Peak District.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I want to be really healthy and drink some Buxton mineral water.
Yeah.
There's advertising for you. We'll have to tell them we did that. It's my birthday quite soon, and my daughter has bought me a present of she's going to take me away for the night to the Belfry.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice.
I'm just sort of having an easy week. I'm going to watch The Town on Saturday.
Yeah,
That
come on
should
the
be
town.
exciting.
Yeah.
And then researching ready for next week and taking it easy, really.
Yeah, and reading all the people's messages.
Yeah. So it's up the Ipswich and up the Arsenal.
Yes.
And all of you have a good weekend.
Yeah, have a good week, everybody.
And don't forget to write in,
Yeah, definitely.
and we'll do our very best to answer your questions.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.